Hi Maria, my name is Dr. Adams and
Hi.
I'm meeting with you today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's a little yucky weather outside today, but I'm doing okay. I just wanted to, as we start the session, to make sure that you know that everything you say in this room is confidential. This is a safe space, so unless you say anything that leads me to think you're going to harm yourself, that nothing that you say here will leave this room. So feel free to talk about anything that you're comfortable talking about.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure you knew that. And I see here you're a student at Wheaton College, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. What are you studying at Wheaton? I'd love to just get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm a freshman, so I just started.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to study because there's so many options and it's just hard to know what I want to do. And
that's understandable. There's a lot of different choices.
yeah, and school's kind of difficult, and the thought of like 3 more years of school is kind of difficult for me to even like process right now. Yeah, and I just don't really know what I like yet. Some of my classes have been pretty good, but like science and stuff I can't really deal with because it's just so much work and studying and stuff. So I'm still trying to decide what I want to do, but yeah, school's been pretty good. It's been interesting because going from like living at home, I'm from Minnesota, so it's like
okay.
it's far. Well, it's not super far away, but like
still a little bit of a distance.
Yeah. So I'm away from my family for the first time really ever, which is challenging for me because I'm really close with my family, and it's hard to not be there anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then living with all these other people in the dorms and stuff, there's just like stuff going on all the time, and sometimes it's really stressful just to have to like talk to people and interact with people all the time, and sometimes I just really don't want to, but it's been good. It's just kind of challenging for me to make that adjustment and do well at Wheaton.
Yeah. It seems like that must be like a pretty big transition, coming from home into such a different environment here.
Yeah, it has been, but it seems like there's so many other people at school who just like do it really well, and they like know everything that's going on, and I feel like I'm struggling a little bit to like make that adjustment and transition, but it seems like everyone else just like has it all together and they're doing really well, and I don't understand.
Yeah, it can seem so natural for other people.
Yeah.
There's sometimes it seems like it doesn't make sense and everything.
Yeah, and it hasn't been like that for me really. But
now tell me about your family a little bit. You said you grew up in Minnesota. Who do you have siblings and parents? And, yeah, tell me a little bit about them.
I'm pretty close with my parents. We don't always get along, but like we're pretty close. And then I have 3 younger siblings. So I'm the oldest by 4 years.
Okay.
And then I have a brother who's 16 and another brother who's 11 and a sister who's 8.
Oh wow, that's a lot of siblings.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm the oldest and I have a lot of responsibility most of the time to like help out with my other siblings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like my family. It's nice to be back home with them when I get to go visit. It's really fun.
Have you gotten to go back home and visit very often?
Not too much, because I've just been at school for a semester, so I've been back like 2 times, but I wish I could go back more. I have some friends that go back home almost every weekend, and they just like get stressed, and it's easy for them to go back home and rest and be with their family, and it's hard because I can't do that as much, but I would like to.
I bet that's pretty hard to be a little bit farther from home and everything. How have you said your classes, you're not really sure what you're interested in doing in the future, but how have the classes that you've been going how they've been going? Have you they given you any direction and maybe what you're interested in the future or anything?
Maybe. Some of them are good. I'm in a lot of gen eds right now, so I'm taking a lot of different classes, so like English and psychology, and I'm in an art class. And
you have quite the wide variety of different things. That's cool.
Yeah, and they've been okay. I generally like the easier ones just because a lot of the times with school and like homework and testing and stuff like that, I just get really like stressed and anxious, especially all just on me to get my stuff done, and there's no one to like help me or like remind me about stuff or anything.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get kind of anxious about that because it's a lot of pressure and there's so many things that I have to get done.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep track of it all, and then I get more stressed and I forget more things and I can't focus as well on the stuff that I have to do, and it's just really hard.
Yeah, I bet that can seem pretty overwhelming with the transition and then trying to balance all the different classes and everything. I bet it can feel pretty overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
Have you been able to make any friends since you've been here? How are your relationships with your roommate and everything been?
It's been okay. My roommate's a lot more outgoing than me, so she has a lot of friends and like people coming in and out all the time. And sometimes it feels like I don't really fit in very well because, yeah, I have friends, but I don't know. We don't hang out as much as my roommate and her friends do, and I get along with my roommate, but we're not very close. So sometimes I'm worried about like if she likes me, or I don't know, like if I'm being a bad roommate, or like if we actually get along, or what exactly.
Yeah, it seems like that could be pretty hard. Just having someone who's being so outgoing, making so many friends, and then especially if you're a little bit different than them. So
yeah, and I sometimes get anxious about like talking to new people. I'm really good at maintaining friendships once I know people, but like going up to someone and talking to them for the first time if I don't really know them is like pretty scary for me, and I don't enjoy doing that at all.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable, especially in a place with so many different new people. That can definitely seem pretty overwhelming at first. And
it's hard.
Yeah, and how would you describe your personality? Like if someone, in 3 words, like what would you say? How would you describe yourself?
I'm pretty quiet, but I think when people get to know me, they realize that I really like to have fun, and I think I'm a nice person to be around. But yeah, I'm pretty quiet and shy in the beginning. And I'm really smart. I would say that I'm really smart, and I'm capable of doing really well in school, but sometimes when I get really anxious or like lose track of deadlines and stuff, then it's hard for me to do that. But yeah, I would say I'm really smart, and I like learning and like trying new things, but yeah. It
seems like you maybe feel frustrated by that you feel smart but can't perform the way you want to.
Yeah, because I know I could be getting better grades and doing better in my classes than I am, but I just like, especially when I have tests or like really big presentations or stuff like that, I just get so nervous that like usually sometimes I forget the things that I studied, but usually I do okay, but especially in presentations, I just get really nervous and my voice like starts shaking a little bit, and it's just hard to remember what's going on, and I have to worry about all of that, and like sometimes I worry about being nervous or like what I'm gonna do when I get up there to give my presentation or stuff like that. It's just hard.
I'm sure that can feel so hard when you feel like you prepared so much and then not being able to perform the way you want to.
Yeah, because I know I could be doing better, but it's just been challenging with all of the new adjustments and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I worry about, and I feel pretty stressed a lot of the time.
Definitely, yeah, I know. It must be really hard for you with this big transition. I know you've talked a lot about this anxiety you've been experiencing and everything. What would you say is the biggest problem that you're experiencing right now in your life with this?
Well, I think there's kind of two, because, well, probably the biggest one is school. And just not being able to perform very well in tests and presentations and stuff. But I think it's affecting my friendships a little bit too, because like a really big part of your freshman year of college is like going out and meeting new people and like doing all this really social stuff, and everyone's like joining all these clubs and going to all these activities and stuff. And so I feel like I'm not doing a very good job of that. But it seems like everyone else is, and everyone else is like out there doing all this stuff. But sometimes I just like get really anxious or like worried about just like going to events and stuff, because being in like big groups of people is really intimidating if I don't know people. And so I think it's affecting me, in school, but also in friendships and like making friends and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That seems really tough. How do you feel when you go to these big events and everything? What's the biggest worry you have when you're there?
I don't know if I'm worried about anything specific, but like I'll walk in and if there's just like a bunch of people and I don't know any of them, then I kind of get worried that like people will think that I don't have any friends or like wonder what I'm doing there or like who I'm with. And so then I'll like try and make it look like I'm busy, but I just feel weird about like, I get really worried about approaching people if they're like in groups talking to other people already. Then I feel like maybe they don't want me there, or like it would be awkward or weird if I like walked up and said hi.
Yeah. It seems like it might create a weird situation that you don't want to get yourself into.
Yeah, and sometimes I think about like what it would be like if I just walked up and said hi, and I just get scared that they wouldn't respond or they like wouldn't have anything to say to me, and I wouldn't be able to come up with anything to like keep the conversation going, and then it would just be really weird. And then I feel like those people would kind of like they wouldn't want to talk to me again, and they maybe would kind of remember me as like a weird person or like someone who doesn't fit in well and stuff like that. I just
You can be kind of scared to even think about doing at times.
And I guess I haven't really had any bad experiences, but I also haven't really tried to talk to very many people. So I just get scared that like if I did, then bad things would happen and like people wouldn't talk to me. So then usually I just don't go to stuff like that. Or if I do, I try and leave really fast and like don't talk to people really.
Yeah, now tell me a little bit about your high school experience. When do you feel like this started? Was this something you struggled with when you were in high school?
Not really, because I went to a really small high school.
Okay.
So I kind of knew people already. So I didn't feel like as anxious about stuff because I like knew everyone already. So it wasn't as much of like in big groups and like doing things with people that I've never met before. Plus I lived at home still, so like I was at school during the day, but then I would go home and it wasn't like I had to live with people and be with these people all the time.
Yeah.
So
That can definitely make a big difference.
Yeah, so I always had like my house as kind of a safe space where I didn't have to worry about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. That seems really hard, especially if you're here and surrounded by so many people and don't feel like you really made the connections. It seems like it can be really hard if you don't have the support system here and everything. Yeah, and you've also talked about your anxiety during testing and during school. Now, tell me a little bit more about that. What does it feel like when you walk into a test situation or when you're giving a presentation? What is that experience like?
Tests aren't as bad because, I still get pretty nervous and like worry that I did badly or that I'm gonna, especially before the test, I'll worry that like I'm gonna forget all the things that I've studied, and sometimes that happens because I just get distracted and worry so much, then maybe that is part of what makes me forget, but I like can't not worry about it. So I get like nervous for tests, but usually I do okay. But when I have presentations and stuff, I'll like go into the classroom and like sit down, and I know I have to give my presentation, and so I like kind of just sit there and like just like dread getting up there and giving the presentation. And I don't really know why, because like nothing bad ever really happens, but I just get so nervous about like talking in front of all those people and everyone staring at me and like thinking, analyzing the things that I wrote and that I'm presenting, and it just makes me really nervous. And then sometimes I like talk too fast or I forget words or like
it feels like you're afraid of what you might mess up or
then a lot of the times I get so nervous. So I get really anxious about speaking and like my hands sometimes get really sweaty, and my voice will crack if I get like really nervous, and it's just kind of uncomfortable because I can tell that like everyone else can see that I'm nervous, but I can't just like make myself not be nervous, and I don't understand why.
It seems like it almost feels out of control for you, like there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating because I'm just trying to do a good job, but I just get so nervous, and I don't know why. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, it seems like this has been pretty distressing for you coming into college now. Have you done anything to try to deal with this problem of being anxious in testing and not being able to make friends? Or
I haven't really talked to anyone about it. Sometimes I'll like try to talk myself through it and be like, okay, it's not that bad, like nothing bad is gonna happen. And sometimes it helps a little bit, but usually I still am pretty nervous and anxious about stuff. But I'll try and like talk myself through it, or like think about, like envision it going well maybe. But I don't know.
Have you been able to talk to any of your professors or any of the friends you have on campus about just some of that struggle? Or
I have one pretty close friend on campus that I talked to about it. So that was good. It's good to have someone else that kind of knows. But I haven't talked to any of my professors because, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing with other classmates. Like I get nervous about approaching them sometimes. And it's kind of scary to have to ask them for like an accommodation or something, just because I'm like nervous or anxious. I just feel like I should just be able to deal with it, and I get nervous about having to ask them for stuff like that.
It seems like that can feel pretty overwhelming, not even knowing how to take that first step and everything. And it's awesome that you've come here for help and come to you have taken the first step of reaching out. I'd love to know what would you like to see happen, like through us meeting together? What would you like to have change in your life?
I guess I would just like to be able to not feel so worried about stuff. And I know that's pretty general, but like I don't want to have to feel like so nervous every time I take a test, and I know it's okay to like feel a little bit nervous about stuff like that, but I guess I just want to feel like less anxious and like not like I have to worry about stuff all the time.
Yeah, definitely. That I definitely understand that. If you could think of anything, what do you think a first step would be to in getting towards this goal?
I don't know. I think maybe it would help for me for like giving presentations, for an example, because that's like pretty stressful. Maybe it would help for me to like do a presentation in front of like a smaller group of people.
That's a great idea.
Even just to like prepare it a little more, and I'll still be pretty nervous about it, but I think it maybe would help a little bit to like practice a little bit more. But I think I'll still be nervous, and it'll need more than that, but that maybe would help a little.
That's a great idea. That is an awesome first step that might help in getting over some of the worry that you feel there and everything. Now, I know we've talked quite a bit about a lot of the hard things that are going on right now. I'd love to know, what do you feel like is going well in your life right now? What would you like to see more of happen?
Well, I have a couple friends at school that I really like spending time with, and I'm not super close with them yet, but I feel like I can talk to them about stuff, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I can like do stuff with them. And I don't know a lot of people, but I know a couple, and so I'm really happy that I have a couple closer friendships here.
Definitely.
And I would like to get to know them better, I think, but it's been a pretty good start for freshman year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I would like to meet more people probably, but I don't know. Right now, I think I just would like to focus on those friendships, and then maybe I can meet more people later because that's still something that's really intimidating for me, but
Yeah.
it helps to have a couple friends that I can.
Yeah, that's
spend
that's
time with.
awesome. You've been able to have those friendships here. It sounds like there are that those are really important to you, and that
Yeah.
has that been helpful in some of this struggle you've been going through?
A little bit. I feel a little bit less worried if I like go somewhere with one of my friends. Then I feel like I can just focus on talking to them, and I don't have to worry about like interacting with other people as much, or I don't worry about like what other people are thinking of me as much if I'm like with someone and yeah, people can see that I like have a friend that I'm interacting with.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better
Yeah,
about that.
definitely. So just one last general question. I'd love to know on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel like things are going in your life right now?
I feel like maybe like a 5 or maybe a 6, because there's a lot of things that are going pretty well, and like I'm doing okay in school, and I do really like college. I think it's a good place for me, and I was getting kind of sick of being in high school, so it's been good to have that change of scenery, even though sometimes it's a little bit scary, but yeah, so I'm doing okay, and yeah, the really good friendships are why I would say maybe a 6, but I feel like there's still room for improvement as far as like my academic performance and like making more friends and just like doing better in classes and not having to worry about so much stuff all the time. I just feel like I'm always like thinking about things in my head, and there's like always something that I'm worried about, and I just would like to not have that.
Yeah, you sound like there's some great things going on for you, but you probably feel a little bit too overwhelmed and everything.
Yeah, it's been a lot of transitions, but yeah, like I said, it just seems like other people are like handling it really well, and I just wish that like I was one of those people and I didn't have to worry about this stuff all the time, because sometimes it's hard to even like think about other things, and I just feel like I'm always worried or like trying to like solve something in my head, or just thinking over and over and over something that happened. And
what do you think it would take to get to that 10? What would you like to see in your life?
I think I maybe need to develop some more confidence and just like feel better about who I am a little bit. And I think if I could make some more friends and have some classes maybe that I feel like I'm doing well in, or even decide on a major or something like that, so I have like a goal to work towards, and so I don't have to worry about that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all this with me. It really has been great to get to know you more. It sounds like this has been a pretty hard time for you, and I think that if you'd like to meet again, there are some practical steps we could take to help you work through some of the anxiety you've been experiencing. And is that something you're interested in, meeting again?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful just for me to get a better sense of like some practical things that I can do.
Definitely.
Maybe we can meet again and talk about like what I can do to like help myself not feel so anxious all the time. I think that would help.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are definitely some things we can talk through and work through that would be a good step and improve in the right direction. And I think it's awesome too that you've taken the step to come here and come meet with me, and I think that you are off on a great start. So thank you so much, Maria, for meeting with me. It's been great to get to know you.
Thanks, it was nice to meet you. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.